Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So I have news for you that just broke today. This is kind of what we already suspected was going on, but now we have actual evidence. So a whistleblower has come forward and claims that a Donald Trump ally told the Department of Justice attorneys, this someone who works in the Justice Department, that he planned to defy court orders. So these details were revealed in a complaint that was filed with members of the Congress. Also, it was filed with the Justice Department Inspector General. And this was leaked now to the New York Times. Now, before I get into the details, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button below this video. It's free for you. It really helps the show. So here's the deal. As you guys might recall, there was a Trump administration attorney who was terminated. His name is Erez Ruveni, I believe is how you pronounce it. This was a couple months back. This happened after he told a judge the truth about the government's case against Kilmar Obrego Garcia. Ruveni had admitted in court that the DOJ had mistakenly deported Garcia, and he admitted that, yeah, we don't really have the evidence to support all of these allegations against him. So he was put on leave the very next day, and then ultimately he was fired. It was like a week later, they fired him. Well, now Ruveni has submitted this complaint, and he's making allegations against a Trump appointed official. So he told the lawmakers and the IG's office that DOJ official Emil Bove had discussed his plans in advance to ignore court orders so that they could deport migrants without or without any or very little notice, and so that there would be no recourse. So nothing could be done. For those who don't know, Emil Bove he was Trump's personal attorney. He represented him in private cases. He also is a current acting DOJ official, and Trump has nominated him to be a justice, to be a judge, a circuit court judge. According to Ruveni, top officials at the Justice Department and the White House sought to defy federal court orders through lack of candor, deliberate delay, and disinformation. In fact, Ruveni's complaint says that Bove told Department of Justice employees that the courts might try to stop them. So he was very well aware that the courts might step in and try to halt these deportations. But Bove told them that the, quote, DOJ would need to consider telling the courts, fuck you, and ignore any such order. And the complaint goes on to say, quote, Mr. Ruveni perceived that others in the room looked stunned, and he observed awkward, nervous glances among people in the room. Silence overtook the room. It also says, quote, no one in DOJ leadership in any administration had ever suggested the Department of Justice could blatantly ignore court orders, especially with an expletive. Mr. Ruveni was in disbelief. So this is a guy who has worked in the DOJ for 15 years, this Ruveni guy. He has worked under Democrats and Republicans. In fact, he worked in the Department of Justice during Trump's first term, and he was praised for his work back then. So this isn't some never Trumper. This isn't some lib who just hates Donald Trump, just doesn't agree with what he's doing. And even though Ruveni said a lot of the DOJ attorneys looked stunned during this whole thing with Bove, he also said some of them expressed their willingness to go along with this. He said that they were ready to, quote unquote, stonewall judges and lie. And his filing says, quote, discouraging clients from engaging in illegal conduct is an important part of the role of a lawyer. Mr. Ruveni tried to do so and was thwarted, threatened, fired, and publicly disparaged for both doing his job and telling the truth to the court. The New York Times said Ruveni's complaint, quote, describes 3 instances in which senior Justice Department officials engaged in wrongdoing by ignoring court orders, presenting legal arguments with no basis in law, misrepresenting facts to the courts, and in one instance, directing him to misstate facts in violation of his legal and ethical duties as an officer of the court. So, one of these 3 instances is Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act to justify deporting all of those Venezuelans to the El Salvador prison. Another of these 3 instances involved a DOJ attorney named Ensign. So you guys might recall Judge James Boasberg is presiding over the case of Kilmar Obrega Garcia, or at least he was, and he and the deportation of all of these migrants, everybody who was sent to this El Salvador hellhole of a prison. So he had asked in court if Ensign knew, like, are any of these deportations imminent? Is anything going to happen within the next 24 to 48 hours? Ensign replied to the judge and said, quote, I don't know the answer to that. Well, Ruveni said that was false. That was a complete and total lie. So you have an attorney for the Justice Department flat out lying to a judge. And Ruveni's complaint states, quote, Ensign had been present in the previous day's meeting when Emil Bove stated clearly that one or more planes containing individuals subject to the AEA, which is the Alien Enemies Act, would be taking off over the weekend no matter what. So he knew from being in that meeting the day prior that they were imminent, that they were planning to fly these immigrants out that weekend, and he flat out lied. And the Trump administration claims that Ruveni is, he's just some disgruntled employee. He's just mad because he got fired because he doesn't do a good job. Well, Ruveni has receipts. The New York Times wrote, quote, the filing, however, suggests a copious trail of emails, texts, and phone records that would support Mr. Ruveni's version of events. It notes that he was recently promoted and had diligently defended controversial immigration policies of the first Trump administration. So again, this is not a never Trumper. This is a guy who agrees with Donald Trump's mass deportation and went along with what he did in the first administration. And when Ruveni sent emails to his superiors, because he was trying to warn them, he was like, look, we can't do this. We can't fly these people out. We're going to be in violation of the court order. We are going to be subject to contempt. We can get a contempt charge against us. They didn't even bother to respond. And Bove's Senate confirmation, by the way, is tomorrow. For him to be appointed to a lifetime appointment as a circuit court judge, they are still holding that tomorrow. In any normal circumstance, his nomination would be pulled, and the Department of Justice would be investigating him and anybody else who was going along with this. But here we are in an authoritarian regime, a fascist regime that doesn't give a damn about due process, doesn't give a damn about the rule of law, and is just going to bulldoze and bully their way into submission. So if the Democrats do not get it together, when they take power again, when we have a Democratic president again, that person better be ready to brawl. That person better appoint an attorney general that comes in. I want brass knuckles and I want skulls cracked. I want everyone from Emil Bove to Pam Bondi in prison. I want them in shackles. I want them in shackles on camera, like these immigrants who were completely innocent. That's what I want to see. and nothing less will suffice. All right, guys, I will let you know when I hear more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.